Everybody at the gun counter is chasing the wrong dream. They want the heaviest box lock on the wall, convinced that more steel means more control. Truth is, that mentality is breaking wrists and costing hunters the second shot on a crossing bird. Here is the deal. 2026 quietly rewrote every rule you thought you knew about over-unders. Mechanical triggers, once locked away for competition-grade guns, costing more than your truck, are now bleeding into shotguns under $1,000. Sub-gauge shotguns are punching like a 12-gauge used to. And Turkish factories are holding tolerances that Italian gun makers charge a premium just to match. Honestly, most hunters have no clue any of this happened. They are still swinging Grandpa's dead weight through the field, wondering why their shoulder is wrecked by lunch. Stick around. We dug through 7 of the sharpest over-unders built for this season, verified every spec, and ranked them from solid to the one gun that is about to make your current shotgun feel like a relic. Number 7 is about to prove you wrong. Moving on, let's start the countdown with a shotgun that basically flips the entire over-under rulebook on its head. Number 7 on the list is the TriStar Upland Hunter Thumbhole stock. Now look, every gun on this list is going to try to look pretty. This one does not care. TriStar built this thing to work. And honestly, that is refreshing. The first thing you notice is that stock. It is not your grandfather's straight grip walnut. We are talking a polymer thumbhole stock, wrapped in mossy oak green leaf camo. Your thumb locks into that hole, and your wrist snaps into a dead vertical, rock-solid position. For running birds through the uplands, some guys will call this awkward. But for sitting dead still in a turkey blind, waiting on a gobbler to clear that last tree line, this grip turns your whole upper body into a tripod. Here is the mechanic's insight for this one. TriStar gave this shotgun a single selective trigger, and that is the real trick behind why this thing earns a spot on the list. You load 2 completely different chokes at once, an open improved cylinder down low for a bird crashing in close, and a super tight turkey choke up top for that stubborn tom hanging back at 40 yards. Flip the selector, pull the trigger, and you just picked your exact pattern density without cycling a single round. That is a decision most single-barrel guns cannot make for you. The metalwork gets a bronze Cerakote finish, baked onto both the receiver and the barrels. That coating shrugs off rain, mud, and swamp water that would eat a blued shotgun alive in a season. Barrel length sits at 26 inches, keeping the whole package at 44¼ inches overall. That is short. That is quick through thick brush. That is a gun that does not snag on every branch in a duck blind. Now here is the deal breaker, and it is an ergonomics one. That thumbhole grip that makes turkey hunting so steady, it is a genuine handicap on fast crossing birds. Swinging through a flushing pheasant with your wrist locked into one rigid angle is not natural. It fights you. Weighing in at 6 pounds and feeding on 20 gauge, the damage to your wallet is $879. Solid gun, smart gun, but it is only rank 7. Stepping up the game now, because number 6 proves you do not need a fat bank account to get real engineering. This is the Stoeger V7000. Under the hood, the whole story here is aluminum. Stoeger built the receiver out of an aluminum alloy instead of steel, and that single decision changes everything about how this gun carries. A 12-gauge version tips the scale at just 6 pounds. Compare that to some of the steel-framed guns further up this list, and you are talking about a shotgun that disappears on your shoulder during a 10-mile walk through prairie grass. Rugged and reliable, this thing punches way above its price tag. Most budget over-unders cut corners with a manual extractor. You pop the barrels open, and you are digging spent hulls out with your fingernails. Not here. The V7000 runs a full automatic ejector system that kicks those empty hulls clean out the second you break the action open. When a covey of quail gets up and you need to reload fast, that mechanism is the difference between a double and an empty gun. Feeds on 12 gauge, and it will cycle 3-inch Magnum shells if you need the reach. But let's be real for a second. Here is your deal breaker, and this one falls squarely into performance quirk territory. That aluminum receiver saves you a full pound of weight, but physics does not negotiate. Run heavy 3-inch turkey loads or Magnum duck loads through this thing, and that recoil comes back fast and sharp, more like an angry mule kicking your shoulder than the polite tap you get from a heavier steel gun. This shotgun wants standard 2 3/4-inch target loads and light game loads. Treat it right and it rewards you. The barrel runs 28 inches under a vented rib, topped with a red fiber optic front sight that pops in low light. Furniture is Turkish walnut, AA grade, with a satin finish that looks a lot more expensive than it is. I know the purists will hate me for saying this, but a $900 shotgun should not feel this well built. Sound off below if you think Stoeger is onto something here. Street price is $949, feeding on 12 gauge only, for now. Lightweight, fast handling. Just do not abuse it with Magnum loads. Now we get serious, because this next one is where the value conversation gets real interesting. Coming in at number 5 is the Weatherby Orion. Here is the deal on this one. Weatherby has bounced this name around for decades. Built in Japan, then Italy, and now Turkey, by a manufacturer called ATA. And under the hood, this gun borrows something clever from its Italian roots. It runs a variant of what is known as a 4-locks box lock design. Instead of the standard dual-lug locking system most over-unders use, the Orion locks the barrels to the receiver at multiple contact points simultaneously. That matters more than it sounds like it should. A gun locked at 4 points instead of 2 stays tight through 5,000 rounds, 10,000 rounds, even 20,000 rounds of hard clay target abuse without the barrels starting to rattle loose. That is the kind of durability people used to pay double for. Barrels come chrome-lined, inside and out, fighting corrosion and making cleanup a 5-minute job instead of a Saturday afternoon project. And unlike a lot of guns fighting for space under $1,000, the Orion ships standard with automatic ejectors, a feature manufacturers usually strip out first to hit a lower price point. The line splits into real options too. The Orion 1 brings traditional blued steel and glossy Turkish walnut. The matte blue version is built for guys who do not baby their equipment, and the sporting model, aimed at the clay range, adds ported barrels and an adjustable comb for dialing in your eye alignment shot after shot. Now here is your deal breaker, and let's rotate the complaint category. This one falls into financial and value territory. A Turkish-built shotgun, no matter how tight the tolerances, still fights an uphill battle at resale. Some buyers will always pay a premium for an Italian or American stamp on the receiver, and that brand bias follows this gun even when the engineering does not deserve it. Slings 12 gauge downrange reliably, with the 20 gauge 3-inch version weighing in around 6 1/4 pounds. Sets you back somewhere between $989 and $1,199. This is solid, but wait until you see the monster waiting for you at number 1. We are climbing into serious territory now, because number 4 brings pure old-world craftsmanship into a conversation dominated by machines and spec sheets. This is the Franchi Instinct Sideplate. Franchi sits under the same roof as Beretta, and that pedigree shows the second you handle this gun. Under the hood, here is the mechanic's insight that makes this one different from a standard box lock. Franchi expanded the receiver into what is called a side plate configuration, extra panels of steel bolted onto the sides of the action. A basic box lock gives an engraver maybe 2 square inches to work with. This side plate design hands them a canvas 4 or 5 times that size. That is not just decoration for decoration's sake. It is the entire reason this gun can carry the level of engraving it does. And the engraving is the story here. The receiver gets a color case hardened finish, a heat-treating process that hardens the steel for durability, while accidentally producing these swirling patterns of blue, purple, and brown across the metal. No two receivers come out looking identical. Scroll engraving frames gold-inlaid game birds on the side plates. 12-gauge models get pheasant and grouse. The 20 and 28-gauge versions carry quail, chukar, and woodcock. Even the trigger guard gets a gold Franchi logo stamped into it. For 2026, Franchi finally brought this side plate treatment down into the 28-gauge, and that little gun weighs just 6 pounds and roughly 2 ounces. Light enough that you forget it is on your shoulder by mile 4 of a upland hunt. Now here is your deal breaker, and this one is an ergonomics complaint. That Prince of Wales grip and the slim schnabel forend look stunning standing still in a gun case. But in wet, cold weather without aggressive checkering to grab onto, this stock can get slick in your hands fast. A gloved hand loses confidence on this gun in a way it would not on something with deeper texture cut into the wood. Eats 28 gauge for breakfast on the small bore version, running 28-inch blued barrels with a vent rib on top. You are looking at $21.49 up to $23.99 depending on gauge and finish. Gorgeous, light, built to be handed down to your kids. Entering the elite tier now, because from here on out, every gun on this list solves a problem the rest of the industry has not figured out yet. Number 3 is the Benelli 828U Steel Field. When Benelli first dropped the original 828U, they used an aluminum receiver to save weight, and it worked. Except it also transferred every ounce of recoil straight into the shooter's shoulder. For 2026, Benelli fixed that by going back to a solid steel receiver on this steel field version. Heavier, yes, but finely built to soak up the punishment of hard-kicking waterfowl and turkey loads without beating you up. Here is the mechanic's insight, and this is genuinely one of the smartest pieces of engineering on this entire list. Benelli patented what they call a floating steel locking plate. On a traditional over-under, the pressure from firing pushes the barrels away from the receiver face, dumping all that stress onto the hinge pin and the trunnions. Benelli's system does something different. A steel plate slides forward and locks directly against the back of the barrel assembly itself when you close the action. That contains the explosive pressure inside the barrels, driving the force straight down the bore instead of hammering the hinge. The result is a locking system that simply does not wear loose, even after years of hard use. Recoil management gets serious help too. Benelli built their progressive comfort system right into the AA-grade walnut stock, a series of nested polymer baffles hidden inside the wood. Light loads barely engage them. Heavy magnum loads compress multiple baffles at once, acting like a shock absorber that adapts to whatever you are shooting. Jedediah's this next feature is almost unheard of on an over-under. The 828U ships with 7 adjustable shims, letting you dial in drop and cast at the comb and heel, custom fitting this gun to your exact build without paying a stockmaker a dime. Now let's rotate the deal breaker category, because we already covered ergonomics on the last gun. This one is financial. That floating locking plate, the cryogenically treated cryo barrels, the removable trigger group, all of it comes at a cost. This shotgun starts at $36.99 and climbs past $4,200. That is a serious chunk of change for a field gun. Eats 12-gauge magnum loads without complaint, tipping the scale at 7.7 pounds. Closer to the crown now. Closer to the crown now. Number 2 on this list is a genuine comeback story, and it earns its spot. This is the Ruger Red Label III. Ruger first built the Red Label back in 1978 as an affordable American answer to expensive European doubles. It got killed off by production costs. A short revival between 2013 and 2015 ran into quality control problems and died again. This time, Ruger did something smart. They partnered with Connecticut Shotgun Manufacturing Company, the same outfit famous for building custom high-dollar doubles by hand. Every Red Label III gets hand-fitted in Connecticut before final inspection back at Ruger's own facility in Mayodan, North Carolina. Here is the mechanic's insight, and this is the real reason this gun handles like something twice its price. Ruger threw out the traditional box lock action entirely and moved to what is called a trigger plate action. The hammer spring, and the sear all mount directly onto a single plate instead of scattered through the receiver walls. That lets the engineers shave the receiver down to something incredibly slim and light. This design borrows heavily from CSMC's own Inverness line, guns that normally run north of $10,000. Right now, this shotgun comes exclusively in 20-gauge 3-inch chamber. Weight sits at 6.59 pounds, and Ruger balanced this thing right at the hinge pin. Underbalanced small-gauge guns tend to feel whippy and unstable when you are trying to track a crossing bird. This one does not do that. It swings smooth, settles fast, and points like it is reading your mind. Now here is the deal breaker, rotating over into aesthetics and build this time. Ruger kept the look deliberately minimal, polished steel, no laser engraving, no fancy inlays. If you are the type of hunter who wants a shotgun that looks like a piece of jewelry, this one will feel plain, sitting next to a Franchi or a Browning. Feeds on 20-gauge exclusively, with barrel options running 28 or 30 inches, and that trigger breaks clean at 3 pounds, 13 ounces. The damage to your wallet lands at $32.99. American made, American proud. But it is not the king of this list. Entering the Elite Tier 1 final time, because the wait is over. This is the one that earns the crown. Number 1 is the Browning Citori 825 Field. The Citori name has been the gold standard for mass-produced over-unders for decades, and the 825 is a calculated evolution from the wildly successful 725 before it. Under the hood, Browning forged the receiver from a single solid block of steel, cut low, then machined it down with tight CNC tolerances. That low-profile receiver drops the bore axis closer to your shoulder, which cuts down muzzle flip hard. When a rooster pheasant flushes and you need a fast follow-up shot, that lower axis is what gets your eye back on target in a heartbeat. Here is the mechanic's insight that separates this gun from everything else on the list. Browning built in their Firelight 2 mechanical trigger system. Inertia triggers, the kind you find on the Ruger, the Benelli, the Franchi, the Stoeger, all rely on the recoil from your first shot to reset the sear for the second barrel. That works fine with standard loads. But feed a light 28-gauge load through an inertia gun or catch a dud primer, and that second barrel goes dead silent. The Firelight 2 does not care. It fires the second barrel on command, every single time, no matter what the first shot did or did not do. Now let's talk about why this one takes the throne over the rest of the field. It gives you locking durability that rivals the Weatherby's 4-point system, but backs it with a receiver forged from a single billet instead of assembled parts. It delivers the fail-safe firing reliability the Ruger's inertia trigger simply cannot match. And the recoil pad, the Inflex 2, uses directional ribs that collapse under fire, actively pulling the stock down and away from your cheekbone, doing mechanically what Benelli's Progressive Comfort tries to do with buried polymer baffles. Here is your deal breaker, and let's rotate the Category 1 final time into performance quirk. That Vector Pro extended forcing cone is tuned beautifully for lead and steel shot, but run cheap bismuth or tungsten blends through it, and pattern density gets noticeably picky compared to the Franchi's Creo barrels. Feeds on 12-gauge, weighing 7.4 pounds, with barrels available at 26 or 28 inches. Street price runs $3,000 to $3,389. This is the complete package. Reliability, engineering, and recoil control, all locked into one gun. 7 guns, 7 completely different philosophies, one clear winner. If you want old-world elegance, the Franchi and the Ruger will not let you down. If you want raw engineering, pushing the limits of what a break-action shotgun can do, the Benelli earns every dollar of that price tag. And if you are hunting on a budget, the Stoeger and the TriStar prove you do not need to mortgage your truck to own a shotgun that runs right. But the Browning Citori 825 Field takes this crown for a reason. It does not just do one thing well. It locks tight, it fires every time, and it protects your shoulder while doing it. That is not hype. That is engineering you can feel on the range. Here is the truth. A shotgun is only as good as the hands holding it. Take care of your gear, respect what it is capable of, and it will never let you down when it matters. Train hard, stay safe, and I will see you downrange.